gotta let the stream breathe for just a second here. Make sure that everything is nice and stable all across the YouTube platform. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this Denver Broncos Syndicate post-game show as your Denver Broncos defeat the Los Angeles Chargers 19-3. They clinch the #1 seed in the AFC, which includes a first-round bye in the playoffs and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Was it the prettiest game, especially offensively for Denver? No, it was not. But just like Turtle says in the chat, a win is a win, and we will happily take it. Let's go ahead and get to some housekeeping matters, guys. While we wait for some more people to start streaming in here, be sure to smash that like button as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, Broncos country. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support, helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member. The link is in the description below, or support me on Patreon at Gage Madrid NFL. That's where you can do all that. We got Glenn Hauser, my co-host on the 5280 podcast, saying, "What's all that racket? All that racket? Geez, I wonder." Ivan in the house saying, "Let's go Broncos." It feels good, man. Before we evaluate anything, before we really dive into the X's and O's, let's just take a moment to appreciate where we are, man. It feels so good. #1 seed in the AFC. We've got the first round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. After everything that this fan base has gone through over the course of the last 10 years, I'll tell you what, man, we deserve it. We deserve it, Broncos country. So take a moment just to appreciate it. I mean, obviously all the fans out there are. So just take a moment. I understand that we've got frustrations, and we will vent all these frustrations here in this stream. I promise you we will. But again, I feel like in situations like this, it's kind of hard to relish and just enjoy what we have right now. So I definitely wanted to take a moment to do that. We got Yvonne saying, "Let's go Broncos." Jamin said the Broncos played a vanilla game plan. They did. I would agree with that, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We'll talk about that, but just based on the conservative passes they were throwing, the run game had some big-time issues in this one, and the offensive line had issues both in the run game and in pass protection. So that's something that definitely needs to be cleaned up in this game. I'm grateful, but we are definitely one and done if we play like this. I'll say again, though, I still feel like Denver was playing basically just vanilla basic football on the offensive side of the ball because they knew the Chargers offense wasn't going to be able to do anything, which they didn't. I mean, the Chargers offense barely squeaked over 100 yards there towards the end. Trey Lance had to put up passing yards in garbage time. They only put up 3 points on the day. So, quite frankly, they knew that their opponent was just going to be a pretty easy opponent, and it felt like Sean Payton just didn't want to show anything, and he didn't want to show his hand heading into the playoffs. How are we going to win a playoff game if we can't even score a touchdown on a second and third string players? Again, I will say the game plan just felt extraordinarily vanilla from the very first snap on the offensive side of the ball. It felt like they knew the Chargers offense just wasn't going to be able to function, and it kind of felt like they were just kind of coasting on cruise control on offense. Beck saying, "Let's go." Shout out from North Dakota. We should have had more points than field goals. We only had 1 touchdown today. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get no more points out of the touchdown and field goals. Again, I understand the frustrations. I definitely understand the frustrations. But still, man, they were not trying to show much out there. It really felt like Sean Payton knew that if they just played well, stayed disciplined, and didn't make any egregious mistakes, they'd be able to win this game. Why show your biggest plays when you didn't need to? So that's just kind of how it felt like offensively. Defensively, they played really well. There were some moments where they didn't keep contain on Trey Lance and they let him out of the pocket. That's a little bit frustrating, but overall, I'd say that we played well on that side of the ball. I'm just glad to see we got out without injuries. It seems that we did have some scares there with PJ Locke and Garrett Bowles. Bowles returned to the game, PJ did not, but we will keep an eye on that. It seems that in terms of major injuries, we definitely dodged the bullet. We had to do enough to win. We haven't unleashed our full potential until playoffs start. That's how Sean Payton does it. See, I tend to agree with that. And Crumble says, yep, PJ and Bowles, they both look to be okay. Go Broncos 1. Our offensive line needs to protect Bo Nix. I agree. That is probably the biggest takeaway from today. The offensive line was bad, dude. The pass protection was terrible. They weren't communicating well up front. They weren't picking up stunts or twists. That's my biggest problem with today's game, was the performance of the offensive line. And that does have me a little bit worried going into the playoffs. Seems that we dodged a bullet with the Garrett Bowles injury, but still, man, Alex Forsythe, he briefly got nicked up in the game. That is a big-time concern. I have to agree with you for sure. Start playing vanilla football. Yeah, I agree. Are you worried at all going into the playoffs? Like I said, I'm a little worried about the offensive line, if I'm being honest. I'm worried about the inconsistencies of the run game. Obviously, I'm here at the stadium, so I didn't hear the TV broadcast, but I saw on Twitter that the TV broadcast said we're probably not going to get RJ Harvey back until the AFC Championship game. That means you've got to go one more game without him, and RJ Harvey was a big issue today. Running into his blockers, his vision is continuing to be an issue, so that is something I'm a little bit worried about. It'll be nice to relax next weekend knowing we already moved on, for sure, for sure. What will it take for Sean to give Jaleel more touches than RJ? He's obviously the better runner right now. Hey man, I've been saying that for the last several weeks. We've been talking about that on this channel a lot, and the fact that it hasn't happened is ridiculous to me. It almost feels like Sean Payton, or it almost feels like RJ has like some sort of blackmail on Sean Payton. I don't get it, because Jaleel McLaughlin, especially between the tackles, is a much better runner than RJ, so I really don't understand it. Jammin says no worries. They took way too many chances with the injuries. They did. They definitely did. Is our starting center out for the year? Wattenberg, it seems he is going to be out for the year, but Alex Forsythe, he thankfully came back into the game, so yeah. Oh, I meant Dobbins. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to say Harvey. I meant to say J.K. Dobbins there. My bad. Harvey's fine, Broncos country. He is fine. I meant to say J.K. Dobbins there. Thank you guys so much for correcting me in the chat. But yeah, man, that's something that you're going to have to contend with for at least one more game, not having J.K. Dobbins out there. R.J. Harvey, the inconsistencies have been frustrating for me all season long. Him running into his blockers, him wanting to bounce everything to the outside. So those are all things that need to be improved on the part of R.J. Harvey. We cannot show our hand, especially if we're possibly just going to see the Chargers if it plays out that way. Never show your full hand, baby. That's winning football. We number one, bitches. For sure, man. For sure. But collectively, I think there are a lot of things that Broncos country is frustrated about. I mean, obviously, the lack of production in the red zone is an issue. 0 for 4 in the red zone today is puke-worthy. I would agree, and that's a continuation from last week where Denver had some issues in the playoffs, or in the Denver had some issues in the red zone there. So yeah, that's something they're definitely going to have to get cleaned up. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, he's probably not going to be back until the AFC Championship game. Apparently that's what they said on the broadcast. Did we hire our playbook? That was a weak offensive effort. We talked about that, Bronco fan. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like the Broncos were just playing a vanilla game plan offensively, and they weren't trying to show their hand. But as Crumble pointed out, there were some issues with Bo Nix's accuracy. He missed a couple of throws. There were some other plays where he was under pressure immediately. Like, he couldn't even set his feet when somebody was breathing down his neck. So those are things that need to be cleaned up. A win is a win. They need to get their shit together on offense. I can understand all the frustrations offensively, and I've got frustrations with Harvey and the offensive line, but I still feel like this was a vanilla game plan going into things. They knew that the Chargers offense wasn't going to be able to do anything, which they didn't do. So it feels like they knew that they just kept the foot on cruise control and basically didn't make any big mistakes in this game. They were going to win, and that's seemingly what the game plan was. It seems like we may get Buffalo again in the playoffs. Hey, I will happily take that, man. Buffalo, they've shown some signs of vulnerability. I know Josh Allen only played 1 snap today, but they've had some issues throughout various points in the year, so I actually think Denver matches up pretty well against Buffalo. Smoke a fat bowl for the AFC Broncos? Oh, trust me, as soon as we get home, man, we will be hot boxing the hot box. The Broncos will look completely different in the playoffs. I have a tendency to agree with that. I think that Sean Payton, he's going to fully unleash his playbook in the playoffs, and we're going to see this offense at full potential. We need that protection on Bo to be 100% better than it was today, and our receivers need to find a way to get better, to get open regardless of coverage. I agree, and that was another issue today. It did not look like receivers were getting open downfield. I've got to see the All-22 to confirm my suspicions on that, but I did see like 1 or 2 plays where maybe Bo had an open guy and he didn't get the guy the ball, but outside of that, offensive line and receivers did have some issues today. Matthew, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. Help keep the lights on here at Broncos Syndicate. Here we are after another Bronco win, all pissed off. A 2025 Broncos staple. I'll take 3 more ugly wins, please. Absolutely, man. I cannot wait for the pundits out there to say that the Broncos are the worst Super Bowl champion of all time, because that is totally going to happen, especially if Denver finds a way to get it done. All of the people are going to try to detract from Denver, and they're going to say they're the worst Super Bowl team of all time. Allen isn't as terrifying if he can't keep handing the ball off. Matthew says, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much, Matthew. Really appreciate it. Need to make sure Bowles is okay. It seems like Bowles is okay. He came back into the game, but he was probably running off of adrenaline and possibly a Toradol shot. We'll see if he wakes up tomorrow and if the swelling gets bad or anything like that, but it does seem like Garrett Bowles is going to be okay. Defense needs to shut down who we play. If we do play Buffalo, defense needs to step up more. I will say, it's going to get lost in the sauce today because of the offensive frustrations, but the defense stepped up today. They looked a lot closer to what we expected out of them and what we saw from them from the early parts of the season. They looked a lot closer to their elite self, so that's really good. I thought that Justin Cernod, he played a really good game with Dre Greenlaw out of the lineup. We should hopefully get Dre Greenlaw back for the playoffs. I think Denver was just being smart and cautious sitting him. Pass rush, when they got home, looked really good. Nick Bonito, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, all of those guys. Even the backups, I believe Iniuwazurike and Savion Jones combined for a sack there. So that was definitely really good to see. Seems like, man, Tony seemed like he was full of something. I can't stand him. He forgot to swallow, man. You go the whole game without swallowing. Just don't listen to the hate. Well, I know one thing. The team is not listening to any of the noise, positive or negative. They're just focusing on themselves and what they can control. That's one thing I definitely love about Sean Payton is he sees to it that his teams don't listen to the outside noise. Yes, Pat Bryant did look good today. Good to see him back out there. Last time we were here at this stadium, sitting at this spot, we were talking about R.J. Harvey having to go to the hospital. That was not fun. Or Pat Bryant, not R.J. Harvey. So that was really, really good to see Pat Bryant back out there. He looked really, really good. Thanks, Gage. Go Broncos. Bong rip cheers all. I will definitely be doing that when we get back. Let's go! Defense won the day. Moss had a great game. He did, man, and he was tested a couple of times. I was worried we were going to see that Riley Moss pass interference call at the worst possible time, but thankfully we did not. Riley Moss, no penalties today. He was in position, had great technique, and the Chargers, they did have Keenan Allen out there at various points. I don't think they had Johnston or McConkey out there, but Keenan Allen was out there at various points, and Denver did a really good job basically shutting down this Chargers offense. There were like 1 or 2 drives where they did move the ball. They did muster a field goal, and then on the final drive when the game was already already decided. They did move the ball against the Broncos backups. They had a couple of plays where it looked like they got a touchdown. One of them was waved off because of an illegal shift, and then the other one, I believe it was Trey Harris, he couldn't catch it. So yeah, man, Chargers ended up with just 3 points on the day, and Denver's defense, they really played the part today. They really did. Hope it's the defense getting back and not Trey Lance making us look good. I mean, there was some of the latter for sure. I mean, Trey Lance had some overthrows, had a tip ball that was intercepted, had a strip sack as well. So it's not like Trey Lance was good today by any stretch of the imagination, but it did feel like Denver was in the right spots. They were taking advantage of opportunities, had a couple of turnovers on the day, which was definitely something we wanted. I mean, the Broncos didn't have a pick six all season long, or a defensive touchdown at all. That was their first defensive touchdown all year. Their first pick six since Jaquan McMillan's pick six last season against the Browns. So that's definitely something positive to see heading into the playoffs. One penalty for 5 yards. Hell yeah, brother. That is also really good news. Denver has struggled with penalties basically all season long. So to only have one penalty today was huge. Really, really huge. Allen has to get his paycheck. Kudos to him for getting paid. He's a monster up front, man. He really is. I'm worried about the Broncos offense. I am not worried about the Broncos offense. I think they will get it together in 2 weeks. And that's another good thing. They've got 2 weeks to prepare. They've got 2 weeks to sit back and self-scout. And I truly believe the offense is going to come out and play well. And I will continue to maintain that Sean Payton knew he didn't have to show a whole lot offensively. He didn't have to bring out any of his exotic plays or anything like that. They could just kind of coast on cruise control on offense and not make any egregious mistakes. And if they did that, they were going to win, and that's exactly what happened. Sean Payton knew that this wasn't a game where you had to pull out all the tricky plays or anything like that. Yes, there are some areas where the offense really, really looked bad, like the pass protection. I will state again, I am concerned about the pass protection. I'm also concerned about RJ Harvey and his really, really poor vision. I had a good behind-the-line perspective today. I was down in the lower bowl, so I could basically see what RJ Harvey was seeing back there, and I saw several opportunities where he could have had a cutback lane or bounced it back inside, and he just didn't do it, man. I understand that RJ Harvey gets a lot of love from this fan base. He gets into the end zone, which is one of the biggest cover-ups, I feel like, of all the negative plays. But as a pure runner of the football, he's just not there yet, man. I'm not saying he won't get there with time. He's still a rookie, and I always say this when talking about the development of any young player. There are going to be peaks and valleys, but at this point in time, I don't know if Denver can afford to ride with these peaks and valleys with RJ Harvey. So that is a little bit unfortunate. We need to see more Jaleel McLaughlin in the next game, and if we make the AFC Championship game, we should get J.K. Dobbins back. There's a certain niche role that I really like RJ Harvey in. That's that third down, pass-catching, pass-protecting running back. He's also really good in the red zone. I'd like to see more RJ Harvey in the red zone, but between the 20s, Denver needs to make some adjustments to the run game. No catches for Troutman today. How's he going to feed his kids without his bonus check? I don't even know if Adam Troutman has any kids, honestly, but yeah, that's unfortunate. I actually have that on a betting ticket and didn't make it. Broncos not ready for the Super Bowl. I disagree with that. They came in and played a very vanilla game against a team they were very confident they were going to beat. I don't think they wanted to show their hand. I did somewhat expect the Broncos to go out and play good football, be able to steamroll their opponent, but the positive things we saw, no penalties, stuff like that, that's all really, really good. I'm totally worried about the Broncos offense. If you see what Seattle did against the 49ers high-powered offense, our offense looks nothing like them. We need to wake up or it's going to be a long road. Well, first of all, you get to play at home throughout the entirety of the playoffs, so that is going to help you out a lot. Offense has been better basically all season long at home as opposed to on the road. But again, I'll say it. It feels like the game plan heading into this one was vanilla. When will Sean Payton start coaching? It's been like this all season long. I will say it again. It just felt like a vanilla game plan. Fannin says they played a very vanilla game just to win. Why would we show our cards today? We did what we needed to do. Exactly. I don't remember any pass completions in the middle of the field. Well, ultimately, Sean can call plays to exploit the middle of the field, but he's not the guy throwing the ball. He's not the guy pulling the trigger. I didn't see a whole lot of receivers getting open over the middle of the field personally. I'll have to go back and look at the all-22 there. That's something that has kind of been feast or famine all season long. Nix has had some trouble over the middle of the field, but today it just felt like guys weren't getting open. You also have to tip your cap to Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator. Yes, he had backups and third stringers in there, but he's still a really good defensive coordinator. He still is able to attack matchups really, really well on that side of the ball. And today, I thought he did an excellent job of slowing down this Broncos offense. So, got to give credit where it's due there. I know the game plan was vanilla, but you could still execute them better. But regardless, Broncos are the #1 seed. Let's rest and reset. Go Broncos. I agree, Exotic. I completely agree, and that's where my complaint is. I thought there were some issues with execution today. The issues weren't really with the play calling or any of the coaching stuff like that. It really felt like execution issues, which has been a common theme for most of the season. Breathe, people. We're on top. Let it happen before we scream we already lost. Be a fan of this team. I agree. I completely agree with that. It's in a way it seems like our strength is winning ugly. Hey man, that's a good trait to have. Being able to win ugly games that you don't play your best. That is something that I think not a lot of fans give this team credit for. They find ways to win. They're not going to go out there and collapse in the back end of the game. That's when they play their best football. Sure, we'd all like the Broncos to steamroll over their opponents. We'd like them to go out there and beat an opponent by 30, but having this trait is good. And honestly, this is how you win in the playoffs. It's very rare that you're going to have a blowout one way or the other in the playoffs. You're going to be in these close games. You're going to be in these games where you're going to have to find a way to win in the fourth quarter when maybe you're not playing your best football. That is how you win in the playoffs, and the fact that the Denver Broncos know how to win these type of games is going to bode really well for them moving forward. Sean Payton isn't going to give any film to other teams. Exactly. Seahawks played for the division and #1 seed. That comparison isn't valid. We knew we were playing backups. We just needed to win, and we need to play to win and stay healthy. I agree. O-line looked like poop. Yep, they did. We talked about that. I thought that there were some issues on the interior of the offensive line. Garrett Bowles, he was out there fighting through that injury, but definitely looked like he was struggling out there at times. So the offensive line definitely needs to get better. Receivers were not playing hard. I mean, I've had issues with this receiving core basically all season long. Did Garrett Bowles come back in? Yes, he did. He sure did. Didn't see Sutton the whole game. Who was on him? They were double teaming him. They had a safety and a corner on him, so they weren't really letting Sutton do anything. Big Pressure says anyone can lock up Sutton. Broncos' last 5 games were some of the toughest in the league and only lost 1 game. Exactly. This is a pretty good team, man, and it just feels like they don't get the credit for it. Jeremy, $3 super sticker. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, guys, we can sit here and we can complain about all these issues, and the fact that we've got 2 weeks to get these issues cleaned up is a really good thing, but we're still the #1 seed, man. We won the game. We won the damn game. We found another way to get a win, and it just feels like fans aren't grateful for it. I do think our offensive line will get better. They're going to have to, because if the offensive line looks like they did today in the playoffs, that is going to be an issue. I see what you mean with Harvey always bouncing it. We need Dobbins back. His vision is just not there right now, and that's something that can develop over time. I'm confident it will, but right now, I don't think Denver can afford to be patient with a young, developing running back. If Jalil's the better guy, Jalil's the better guy. It's that simple. The biggest thing they need to work on is protection for Bo, so he has time to find an open receiver and open up more lanes for the running backs. Bo needs to get rid of the ball and not take a sack. Really good assessment. Really, really good assessment. Rock on Denver. Double team Sutton, yet Franklin still got shut out. I mean, I've been trying to tell guys Franklin isn't really that dude, but here we are. They need to use Jaleel and Harvey in the passing game. That's where you should be using RJ Harvey, is in the passing game. He's a really, really good receiver out of the backfield. Where Harvey struggles is a pure runner. That's where I want to see more Jaleel in pure running situations. That way, when Harvey's on the field, we could use him a lot more in the passing game. Regardless of anything, I love our team, and we're not 14-3 for nothing. We fought hard all year long, for sure. Tight end continues to be very weak. I mean, I don't think this team has the worst tight end room in the NFL anymore, but it's not very far off from being the worst tight end room in the NFL. Evan Ingram has basically been a non-factor offensively since the Washington game. Adam Troutman, you look up the definition of mid in the dictionary, and you're going to find Adam Troutman there. And then you've got Nate Atkins, who's fine as like a third-string blocking tight end, but he's not a true starting tight end. That is a position that I've had issues with this team for a long time, and they are going to have to find a way to get that fixed. They're not going to be able to get it fixed in season this year, but next year, please, for the love of God, do whatever you have to do to find a real tight end, somebody who can play both in line and out wide, somebody who can be a pass-catching threat and a blocking threat. For God's sake, stop trying to bring in these pure receiving tight ends like Greg Dulcich, Evan Ingram. It just hasn't fucking worked, man. You cannot keep doing this. We really need a true inline tight end. Desperately. Not counting him out yet. He's a rookie, but not the time to test stuff. I agree. I mean, maybe if we were losing football games, trying to figure out guys for the future, but we're not doing that crap anymore. We're trying to win a Super Bowl right here, right now. We cannot afford to be patient with this. If RJ continues to struggle, you need to put the better guy in there. It's that simple. What's the over-under that Sean has been intentionally limiting the Broncos during the regular season and will let them loose in the playoffs? I think today there's definitely some validity to that. I think Sean knew that he just had to have a vanilla game plan today. Just coast in the game, don't make any egregious mistakes, and you're going to win, and that's exactly what they did. Is Brandon Jones going to be back for the first game? We don't know yet, but I wouldn't say it's a good look right now. Probably not. FL says agree. Anyone but Travis Swift, I'm on board. I mean, Travis is going to be retiring. He's done. It's either Kansas City or retirement for him. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on the draft as far as somebody that they could bring in at the tight end position. That's right. Brandon has to miss the first playoff game based on the timing that he went on IR. That's right. So we're definitely not getting him back until the AFC Championship game at the soonest. It's exactly what he did the year he won with the Saints, for sure. Yeah, Locke went out. That wasn't good. I thought that Devon Key stepped in and actually looked pretty good. So we'll see if he can continue to play well. I'm hoping that we can have PJ Locke back for the next game, though. Thankfully, we've got 2 weeks to get our guys ready to go. They need to make Mims and Harvey more gadget players and give the running duties to someone else. Yeah, for sure. I think if you look at Harvey especially, he can be a joker for you in the passing game. He can be a mismatch nightmare both in the run game and the receiving game if he's used correctly, especially in the receiving game. But I just feel like they're not giving enough chances to do it. Thank you so much for the $2 more, Jeremy. Really, really appreciate it. I believe Knicks will have a historic postseason. He's always great when he absolutely needs to be, and that turns into greatness, for sure. I love that. We got April in the house. Good to see you. I can't wait to see what we'll look like next year when we're out of the Russell Wilson cap money and everyone wants to come to Denver to play. Just think, man, this team isn't even at their full potential yet. That's the scary part. We're 14-3, number 1 seed in the AFC, first round bye in the playoffs, and we still can get better. That's the scary part. Yeah, David Njoku is probably target number 1 for me at tight end. Taysom Hill, he's more of a gadget guy. He's not going to be a true inline tight end. And then Kyle Pitts, he's a pure receiving tight end, not going to be a blocking option for you at all. So I would say that if you're going to bring in a free agent tight end, David Njoku would be my number one option there, because he can function both as an inline blocker as well as a receiving tight end. Powers looked rusty along with others on the offensive line. Yeah, the interior of the offensive line did not look good. I'll have to watch the tape to tell you who the big problem there was, but it definitely did not look good on the interior. Well, Jones is going to have to miss the first playoff game, Vet, because he's on IR. So we're probably not going to get him back until the AFC Championship game at the earliest. I fully believe and know we have not seen our best football yet, for sure. Or I think the Bills might not retain Dawson Knox. I'd be okay with Dawson Knox. Knox is fine enough as an inline guy. I would definitely take him, but if it were up to me, I'd probably draft the tight end in the future. All right, guys, we're at the 30-minute mark and probably going to get kicked out of the stadium here any second. So we're going to go ahead and wind this stream down. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, guys. We will be getting other content out once we get back home in the hot box. Be sure to smash that like button as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today or a supporter on Patreon. The link to become a channel member is in the description below, or you can find me on Patreon at Gage Madrid NFL. Thank you guys so much. We will see you later this evening. I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.